leaves behind clues. We get to talk to and have good conversations with amazing agents, and not just amazing agents, but just with amazing people. So I'm very excited, honored, privileged to be able to not just interview this person, but I've gotten to know this person over just the last couple of months, and it's been, really wonderful. It really has been. It's just something that I did not expect in my real estate career to come across this person. And it's the one and only Karen Anderson.
Okay.
Welcome, Karen.
I'm not all that.
No, we love you. We love you. And look, Karen is so humble. She's not only is she a top producing agent, has run a successful business for many years. She is just a great person. I see the work ethic. I see the hard work that she puts in. She's there. I mean, really like in her office every evening, just late. I know right now she's in Nashville, so she gets to talk to us from a different state from Tennessee, but excited to have you.
Thank you.
All right,
Yeah.
well, look, we're gonna get started. I mean, for those of you that don't know you, Karen, tell everyone just a little bit about who you are and, even more specifically, like why real estate? Like, how did that all get started?
That's an interesting one. Okay, so first of all, I'm a New Jersey Italian, so sometimes I don't have a filter, but I'm really trying hard to work on that. But I kind of just always had a background interest in real estate. I've been in sales pretty much my most of my adult career. I did have an accounting background as well. But I always had an interest in real estate, and I used to look at the home guide, when it would come, and I would see, that's back when we used a lot of print advertising, and, all the agents, and they almost seemed like celebrities to me, with their pictures in the paper and everything. And I don't know why that was so impressive to me, but it was. But anyway, I had another business, a sales business, but a completely different industry. And I decided, I wanted to find out more about real estate. So I got my license and continued with my other business and said, I'll just use this as supplemental income. And then after, I was very fortunate because my business was built from my sphere, including people that I knew from my other business. So it got pretty lucrative after the first couple of years to where I decided to give up the other business and just pursue real estate full time. And I was fortunate to connect with, it was an independent broker, but she was very focused on helping me learn and grow. And it was kind of a lot like the philosophy when they say you're teaching your kids to swim, just throw them in the pool and they'll figure it out. And that's kind of what she did, but she was always there in the background for me. So if I had questions, she would say, okay, call this person, this person, this person, call this title rep. And the other thing is, back then it was more prevalent, I guess, where we also did loans. So I was trained as a mortgage broker and a real estate agent at the same time. So that was really good knowledge. And it was also a very good income stream. I'm still licensed to do loans, but I mean, I let the experts do what they do, and I'm too busy with the real estate side. So I just kind of kept the licensing to have the knowledge and the continuing education more than actually doing it.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Well, Karen, I
Mhm.
mean, look, you talked about just being thrown in the pool and figuring it out and being thrown in the pool. I mean, you're going to run into a lot of challenges. What were some of the hardest ones in those early years?
Hmm. It seems like it was, 28 years ago, so it seems like kind of hard to remember. Um, we didn't have all the technology we have now. So I was like all excited because I had my own fax line in my house, like a dedicated fax line. We still got faxes on thermal paper, but a lot of it was still done in person, delivering offers and things like that. They When I got licensed, they were just starting to move the MLS to being online, but of course that was when we either had like a green cursor or an orange cursor, and that was it. No pictures. The appraisers came out and had to take pictures, get them developed, and stick them to the page, and do 3 copies for us to have appraisals. Um, my first cell phone was in a bag that I carried over my shoulder, and you always had to have change for your pager.
Yeah.
So the technology has changed a lot, mostly to the better. Um, we had to press hard because we were making 3 copies of our contracts and we had to go to the board to buy them and, things like that. So that has been quite an evolution, which obviously is constantly changing still. But, that was just how it was. So it didn't seem like a challenge at the time. That's
Yeah.
just how we did things. We've had multiple iterations of the Supra, how information was shared. But that was really, I mean, the rest of it was pretty easy. It was
Well,
a lot
so
less complicated because there was a lot less paper. I mean, it's even though we were
right.
making multiple copies of everything, our contracts were 8 pages, you know.
Well, and I like how you brought up the point. Back then, you didn't see it as a challenge because it is what it is. I mean, that's all
Mhm.
you know. It's not like you could predict 30 years later you'd be doing it this certain way.
Right.
But back then, I mean, then what was it like getting leads? I mean, is it pretty similar to what it is now? Just having conversations with people, open houses, cold calling. What was it like back then?
It was pretty similar, but like I said, I was very blessed because it started with my sphere and then it became referral based. So my very first listing actually came from my daughter, and she was probably God, well, how old is she now? She was probably 9 or so, and she one of her friends on her soccer team was, at the dinner table with her parents, and they're like, I think we're gonna, talking about selling their house. Well, why don't you call Robin's mom? That's what she does. And that ended up being my first listing. And and I was so excited and I was scared to death at the same time because I didn't know what to do. And again, the process was very different. Staging wasn't a thing and professional pictures weren't even hardly a thing.
Yeah.
But we did it. And I remember we bluffed our way kind of into an offer because we had somebody who'd looked at it and the agent said, well, let me know if you get anything because my client's really interested. So, of course, I called my broker and her husband, who was also a broker. And he goes, okay, I'll give you an offer on it. So now you can tell her you're going to get another offer.
Mhm.
And they used to tell me to even scour the obituaries looking for leads and things like
Wow.
that, because again, we didn't have the technology.
Yeah.
I mean, AOL, we were still on the disc that we got mailed to us or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody knows that.
So it was more about talking to people and relationships,
Mhm.
than all the things that we have available to us now.
Was that difficult for you? Did that come naturally, Karen, talking to people? Because now, I mean, I feel like you can talk to anybody. That's your personality. What did that evolve?
It I would say it did. And having a sales background, the industry that I was in before was very challenging because it was industrial tooling. And I was one of the very first women in that industry. So even though my former husband had an established business, I grew that business to 3 times the size
Mm.
before I stepped out of it, because I was kind of a novelty. So I had to walk like a fine line in the male driven industry of making them know that I understood what I was talking about without making them feel dumb. I mean, that's just the truth of it. And so I think that helped a lot. Um, but to be honest, I say even to this day, I'm not a natural socializer. Like if you put me in a room at a party with people that I don't know, which is a great networking opportunity, I'm going to be the wallflower. I'm not that person. So I feel like I've been very blessed. Um, you know, I mean, I've met people at open houses where I haven't even gotten their contact information, but you know, they end up calling me because they like something I said or how I approach them without being pushy. Because even with the Jersey Italian, it's not my nature to be pushy salesperson because I didn't like it when it would happen to me. So I don't want to be that person. I'd rather try to be a little bit more genuine and offer something of value, um, than just be the pushy person.
And I look, I do see that the genuineness, and I think that's what people have seen, prospects or whatever you want to call them, leads have seen. They get drawn to that. Now, Karen, I know that from what I know is prior to Keller Williams, you had your own independent brokerage.
Mhm.
How did that get started?
Well, I was working for after the original broker, I was with her for several years, and then um, I decided I needed to kind of broaden my horizons a little bit. She was distant; she was about an hour away, so I needed to do something that was a little bit more, I guess, local and have a little bit better presence and maybe more resources. So I actually joined a company that was a mortgage company locally in RPV that had been around for quite a while. And then since I was the only one there that had the real estate experience, he said, "Why don't we start a real estate division?" So we did that. And then I ended up purchasing that from him. And I ran that for several years. Um, and I mean, in all honesty, it was challenging. I had about 15 agents, but the finances of it were challenging. We got into the period where the market tanked. My husband went into forced retirement, um, and things like that. So it kind of made me reevaluate, things, and decided it would be better to um, not be trying to carry all that load by myself. And that's when I went to Keller Williams. So,
Okay.
but I enjoyed doing it, but I also had the realization that with, 15 or so other people working under me, one wrong thing that they said could create quite an issue. And I did have an
Sure.
agent at that time that was a little bit of a loose cannon. So, um, it just was a better move. And it has been because the resources that I had, uh, available to me at Keller Williams it was very eye-opening. Even though I had been in business for, 10 years at that time, um, it was like a whole new world almost when I realized everything that was available
Tell me
rather
more
than being
about that.
independent.
Yeah, tell me more about that if you could. Like, how did you get introduced to KW, and then what were some of the eye-opening things?
Well, I had just finished a deal with an agent that was at Keller Williams, and she never was really pushy or anything at all. But I remember having to go to her office for some reason, and they had a big sign on the wall with stars all around it, and it said Keller Williams, where the agents are the stars. And it was like, well, that's an interesting concept. And then, I was talking to her, um, and then realizing that I was going to need to make some kind of move. Uh, I decided to talk to Al actually, and he was I was in the LA Harbor office, and he was co-owner of that office. So we met and talked, and he, you know, did what Al does and convinced me that this would be a good move for me. Although my ego kind of got in the way for a bit, and I was trying to figure out how to make that transition without making me feel like a failure or without it appearing to the public that in some way I had failed. And he and Joanne were very helpful with that. So, but just introducing me at that time to all the resources that Keller had available, the online training, um, the trainings in office, just, you know, I'm thinking now, because everything's command now, but whatever it was back there, Keller Williams University or whatever, where we
Yeah.
had all these classes available to us and everything, I felt like I was almost starting over. It was very reinvigorating. Um, and even though it was a rough transition, I had no business for the first few months, but that was symptomatic of the whole industry at that time. It took a while to catch my bearings, but then I did, and then I slowly, built my team, which has morphed over time too.
Yeah, yeah. No, and I mean, I hear that a lot from people, and I myself included. I felt like I started all over as well when I came to Keller Williams. It's like, oh wow, this is what I've been missing. So I'm glad you brought that up. I want to make a shift, Karen, into just the real estate business, and just for you, and with your experience. I mean, you've done this for a very long time, and I hear from a lot of agents they have challenges with sellers that are unrealistic. Sellers that think that my house looks great. What do you mean we need to clean up the clutter? Or my house is worth at least $100,000 more than that other house that that sold down the street with the same layout. What are some ways? I mean, if you could give just a couple pieces of advice to an agent that's talking to sellers that are unrealistic, like what has worked for you?
Brutal honesty for the most part, and sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. But, I also tell people, I liken it to my own house, that if I were going to sell my own house, I would
Mm,
still bring in somebody to come in and tell me what to do. Like my big, we call it the recovery chair because every time anybody has a surgery or they're sick or whatever, they hang out in this big oversized chair with this huge ottoman. Totally takes up way too much space in my living room, right? But I love it. I think it looks fine, but there's no way it looks fine to anybody else coming
yeah.
in to see my house. So I would have somebody, I tell them I would have somebody come in and rework my house, because I'm comfortable in it. So I don't see what other people are going to see when they come in there, and then we start to make even some subtle changes and they're like, oh, yeah, I see what you mean. And so that works most of the time. Um, the As far as the pricing challenge, sometimes we win that and sometimes we don't, but the thing is I'm never going to be the person who's going to, I tell them I'd rather under promise and over deliver, and that if we underprice your house the market is going to bring the price. So but to start out there, we show them statistically that it's not going to work in their favor. They're going to end up with less, and we have plenty of statistics to back that up.
I hope you guys wrote that down. I like that one. If we underprice your house, the market will bring the price. I love that one. And I love that you
Mhm.
compare it to your own house. Like, hey, to me, this looks great. This is comfortable. But, you're making that comparison. I think that's really good.
Mhm.
I'm going to steal it.
Go for it. I've
Uh,
stolen plenty from you already.
well, Karen, I've gone to actually a couple of your recent listings. I went to just the last one with that 8,000 square foot lot and with the ADU and all that beautiful
Uh-huh.
listing. You do a great job of just presenting your listings,
Mhm.
staging wise, and just the way that they look. How did that come about? Is that just something that you've always done?
It's not something I've always done, but it's something that and this is going to be like a crazy one too, but it kind of evolved because, in the beginning, staging wasn't a thing. And then it more started with, decluttering, accessorizing, things like that. And I had a gal that I worked with who was an interior designer. And, we started out where she would go and do the design. We would rent furniture if we needed to, because there weren't all these staging companies at the time either. So we would rent the furniture, and we started collecting accessories and things like that. And basically, I have a warehouse and enough stuff now to probably stage 5 houses on our own. So, but we pick and choose. So if we're doing something that's, a lower, I don't want to say lower end because the prices are not lower end, but like that house you saw, that was professionally staged. So we use a combination depending on the property and what I know I have and my capabilities are of either doing our own staging or hiring the staging. But I do have a warehouse and a staging collection, and it's part of our value proposition that we offer to our sellers.
Okay. Is that something you would recommend if an agent is really, I mean, let's say they're averaging a listing every month that needs to be would you recommend that, or is that just really
Probably
to
not
each their
at
own?
that level. It's cost prohibitive. Um, I guess it would depend on the value of the listing too, but if we're doing something in the gardens, say, in San Pedro, we're going to stage that ourselves because we can and we can, we do all the time.
Yeah.
But something like that particular house that you saw, it had a little bit of a wonky layout. Um, it needed a particular look, and I didn't feel equipped to do justice to that. So we hired that one out. But if you're doing, and the other thing is if you're doing a listing a month, it's going to be cost prohibitive also for you to pay for it. But because we do provide that as part of our service. Um, and um, you don't always have sellers that are willing to do it.
So you're covering staging costs.
Hmm.
Okay. And did you feel like you had to do that to be competitive because other
Uh,
agents were doing it?
yeah. And like I said, when we're doing it ourselves, it doesn't matter because I already have that inventory. So it's just a question of the time. But that particular seller is an investor, and they found us based on our online presence and reviews. And they have right now 100 houses in their portfolio. So obviously, I'm going to pull out all the stops.
Yeah, yeah. For sure. For sure.
You know, and we're already looking at other properties with them as well.
Yeah.
And that property did go under contract with multiple offers. So
Oh, it's a
in
great
the
looking
first
property.
week. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do something fun. Uh, I love those. There's the TV shows, reality shows where they drop off an entrepreneur like kind of middle of nowhere. It's like, hey, here's $100. You got to build your business all over again. Something like
Oh,
along those lines. Like Karen, you are now in a brand new area. Like you know nobody there, no connections, no referrals. What are you going to do the first 90 days to start building your real estate business as a brand new realtor in that area?
learn how to work the internet. It's my anything you see of ours on social media isn't me. But that's a good case in point. Sorry, you have a piece of
Oh, sorry.
something on my screen that's distracting me.
I keep freezing.
Um, no, it was me. Um, but so for instance, like you said, right now I'm in Tennessee and we decided to buy this house. I didn't know an agent in this area. The agent I found on Instagram, and she moved from California 3.5 years ago to Tennessee, knowing nobody and having no business because she was an agent there for over 20 years and built her entire business with a target of people moving from California to Middle Tennessee. And how she did it, her Instagram, everything, it's amazing. She has, I don't even, thousands of followers now. And that's where she's getting most of her business from. And she's consistently busy. She said she did join a team in the beginning. And that's actually a thought that I've had that if I did decide to get licensed here for future, um, it seems like the most logical thing. But with my high D, I don't think I could be on a team because I'd be trying to run the team, even knowing that I don't know what I don't know. It's very different here, um, in a good way in terms of the paperwork and the contracts and the disclosures and all of that. It's like if you saw it, you'd laugh. You'd be like, well, where's my disclosures? And they're like, no, that's it. Those 2 pages, that's what you get.
Wow.
Um, so, I think the internet would be key in doing that and finding a niche.
Yeah, so I mean, we kind of brought it up in the very beginning of this call, success leaving behind clues. I mean, you're still looking at what other successful agents are doing. This agent, I, I, and I kind of, I knew this, knew that this is how you found that house too. You did tell me that story about that agent
Mhm.
specializing it, but it was all Instagram. But
It was all Instagram.
I
Mhm.
mean, were you just going on Instagram and searching for that? Did you come across it accidentally?
I think what happened is I started searching houses here. So then how the algorithms of the internet starts putting things in front of you that match whatever you're searching. And I think that's what happened. Yeah.
Those beautiful algorithms.
Hmm.
Wow. And that's how you found your agent. So there you go, everyone. Instagram. People are,
Hmm.
those algorithms, you got to get those algorithms getting you in front of more people. Karen, let's wrap it up with this. I mean, a lot of new agents are on this call. It's a different time, it's a different market. I mean, if this kind of goes along the lines of my last question, but what piece of advice would you have for them, whether it's strategy, whether it's business stuff, whether it's mindset, whether it's goals? I mean, what should they be thinking about in 2026?
Okay. Well, the first thing, there was a lot of things that I learned, like I said, when I came to Keller Williams that I was new. And I tell people, even if you didn't stay with Keller Williams, it's the best place for you to start because of what's available to you. And that real estate is a business. Number one, you have to treat it like a business. Just like if you opened a convenience store, you have to have an accounting system. You have to know what your numbers are. So you have to run it like a business. It's not a hobby. I don't feel like it can be a part-time job for, if you're going to, I mean, if you just have a career and you want some supplemental income, maybe, but you're not going to build a business technically that way, even though I kind of did. But I used the resources from my other business to help build this one. So there's that. You have to plan to work hard initially. Your time is not going to be your own if you're really going to try to build that business. And you can um, eventually earn or form your way into that. Like, for instance, I just took 6 weeks away from my business, which in 28 years I've never done. Although I have been working from here, we've signed listings from here, we've opened escrows while I've been here because I have an amazing team. I have an admin that's been with me for over 20 years. She could speak my sentences, honestly. And my partner, Lee, is amazing. She's been working her butt off. Um,
She's been at the
and
office very late every night. I see her.
yeah, I know. She's been amazing. But we've kept everything going. And if it wasn't for them, I never could have done this. But after all the years of working the way I've been working, I kind of owed my husband some of my time because it can be difficult when you're trying to balance those things. And, when Lee came on the team, it'll be 6 years in January. She had two boys in their young teens, and her work ethic is just amazing. And I can't even imagine working at that level with two kids still in school. Um, but I digressed a little bit there. But you have to treat it like a business. Um, uh, the open houses and things like that in the beginning are going to be crucial. I mean, it used to be a lot easier for us to pull clients in from open house. Now people, because of the internet, they're a lot less committed. The statement I hate hearing is, "Oh yeah, we go out and look at the houses, and then if we like it, we call our agent." Well, when I started, you didn't see a house unless you were with your agent. So it's kind of that just irks me. I'm like, I'm sorry, but that's their job, to show you the house. Because even if I have a client that wants to make an offer, I still have to go see the house. How do I advise them if I haven't seen what it is they're looking at, or can't
Right.
be the devil's advocate and maybe point out the things that maybe they didn't see? So I don't know. Did that answer your
No, it's
question?
no, great answers. Great answers. I love it. I mean, I think the sign of a really successful business is when you can also physically step away, at least physically, and it's still running. And
Hmm.
so you're definitely proof of that. And
Oh,
Karen, I mean,
scary as heck. But
but you've got a great team. You've got great
mhm.
leverage. Of course, I know Irene and Lee and talk to them all the time, and they're doing great. And we missed you. We can't wait to see you soon. I know you'll be coming back soon. So
Yeah, I'll be back in the office Tuesday. So
yeah. So we hope you enjoyed your time. Well, let's give a hand to Karen. It's just in the 30 minutes that we were on here, I think I found a lot of value personally. I hope all of you did as well. And thank you so much, Karen, for doing this.
it's my pleasure.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great. It was great. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone, and have a great, great weekend. Get your holiday shopping or whatever you guys need to do out there. And we'll see you guys on Monday for Producers Mindset.
Okay.
Have a
If
great one,
anybody ever
guys.
has any questions or whatever, one thing I'm always open to helping anybody that needs help or has questions or anything if I can be of any service.
No, and Karen definitely has a heart of just wanting to give. So we definitely appreciate that. I can definitely vouch for that. Thank you, Karen.
Okay, you guys have a
Thank you,
great day.
guys. Bye bye.
Bye.
Look forward to meeting you, Karen.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.